Another day, another transfer story in the world of West Ham United. Welcome back to the West Ham Massive, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get stuck into yet another rumour. But there might be something to this. You never know. As I said yesterday, there's going to be an awful lot of these that are going to connect players with departures and arrivals at West Ham United. And we got to prepare ourselves. A lot of them will be, as I said yesterday, stuff and nonsense. But this one, there's potential there. That's all I'm going to say. There'll be potential there. But you can get your comments in the section below and tell me what you think about the player we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into that, please, if you are new around here, click subscribe, because at the minute we have got, as I record this, one more subscriber until we hit 1,900 subscribers, which for me is something of an achievement. I know it probably doesn't sound like much compared to some YouTube channels, but we are what we are. Would really appreciate the support. Click subscribe. Around about 76% of the people that have viewed this content in the last 28 days have not subscribed. Doesn't cost you any money. Takes a moment of your time. We don't get any data sensitive information. Just helps to grow the channel into something bigger down the track. Drop a like on the stream. Give us a hype if you got one available. Oh, when you subscribe as well, don't forget to click the bell icon. That way you'll be notified of any new content. And we thank you always for your support. So let's talk about a player that is currently in the Premier League with Sunderland. Now, we're going to talk about a player by the name of Eliezer Mayenda. Now, some of you may have heard that name. You might be thinking, oh, hang on, that name seems familiar to me. Well, all might become a little bit clearer as we go along, but let me go into a little bit of a fact-finding mission for you. So, okay, apparently this player is on our transfer wish list. Now, if you're thinking, is he any good? Why are we looking at him? Who is he? And all those things. We're going to get stuck into that. So we're going to look at his early life, his career, what he's done at Sunderland, and we're going to talk about some comparisons that I think are pertinent between him and a person who's been in the media quite a lot lately because he's got a book out and he's got a lot to say for himself, a certain Michail Antonio. So his name is Eliezer Mayenda. Now, he is a 21-year-old forward. He was born in Zaragoza in Spain to a family with roots in the Congo. He grew up between Spain and France. So he's got a mix of football cultures in him, and that really shows in the way he plays. He's got a Spanish technical base, but he's also got the physicality and explosiveness that you see in a lot of French developed forwards. Now, he joined the academy at Sochaux, and here's the first big thing that you need to know. He became the youngest player in the club's history to make a senior appearance. That tells you everything, in that he was ahead of his age group for physicality, he was mentally ready, and he was trusted by the coaching staff. Now, fast forward to the year 2023, Sunderland at that point were in League One under the management of Michail Antonio. Sunderland picked him up for just a little over about £1 million there or thereabouts. Now, in today's football, or in the football that existed in 2023, even in League One, that is a proper bargain, you got to say. Now, if you talk to Sunderland fans, I think most of them will tell you that there is something there. He's got a little bit of something about him. He's raw, he's unpredictable, and he's exciting to watch. Now, he did have a loan spell at Hibernian up in the Scottish Premiership. He came back, and then he started to get more minutes under Michail Beale, and later under the new coaching setup of Regis Lebris. Now, he got his big breakthrough was against Sheffield United. He scored a brace, and that was really what set him off and running at the Stadium of Light. Now, fast forward then to the season before last, the Championship playoff final, Sheffield United, Sunderland, Wembley Stadium, 90,000, packed house, the biggest game in domestic football in terms of what's on offer in a one-off game. Promotion to the Premier League from the Championship. It doesn't get much bigger than that now, does it? Huge pressure, huge stakes. Sheffield United are 1-0 up. I think it was about 26 minutes gone. They'd scored. Playing well, everything's going Sheffield United way. Up pops in the 76 minutes, Eliezer Mayenda, equaliser. And then obviously Sunderland in the 90 plus 5th minute, I think it was, Tom Watson scored to send Sunderland up. Fantastic. Now, so that proves he's got a big game mentality. Like I say, big game, big pressure. He performed under those situations. Now, Then, and this is where some of you might be thinking, I've heard that name before. He made his Premier League debut against us at the Stadium Light. I was there. First half was so-so. Second half, we got torn to shreds. Lost the game 3-0. He scored in that game. So some of you might recognize now where you've heard his name before. That is why you know the name. Okay. And of course, he's going to score against us because last season, pretty much everybody did, didn't they? Anyway, let's get into what sort of player he is. He's not a traditional number 9. Okay. He's not a big target man and he's not a poacher, but he is explosive. He's direct and he creates chaos, absolute carnage. He loves running at defenders. This guy is rapid. And that is one thing we don't have in the ranks as far as our attackers are concerned. Raw, unadulterated pace. This guy has it in abundance and he loves attacking the space. He's got first step accelerations that makes centre backs absolutely brick it. He can play through the middle. He can play left. He can play right. He can drift. He can press aggressively. He's versatile. He's a modern coach's dream. He's also really got really intelligent movement. He bends his runs, drifts into half spaces, pulls the defenders all over the place. But the big thing with him is he plays with fearlessness. He's courageous. He's not scared to take people on. He's not scared to try something, and he's not scared of the big occasions. As I say, Championship playoff final, he's there with the equaliser. Sunderland go on to the promised land in that match. Now, he's not the finished article, though. 21 years of age, he's bound to be raw, as I say, but the tools are there. Now, some of his strengths, explosive acceleration. Like I say, we haven't really got express pace forwards. Bowen's quick. Somerville's quick, but they're not shit off a shovel department. This kid is. He's direct running. He's got a strong mentality, as I say. Played that game against Sheffield United at Wembley. Also, as I say, was the youngest player and still is to this day in Sochaux history. Okay. So he's got, like I say, he's got that strong sort of mindset. He's also versatile, as I say. He can play through the middle, left, right, doesn't matter. But there is a but. Weaknesses. Finishing, he can be a little bit inconsistent, but that goes with the territory. As I say, he's a young kid. He's still developing. And I think this is someone that we need to have an eye on as someone that we're going to develop, but someone that also is for the here and now. As I say, he's got championship experience as well as Premier League experience. So if we have him for this season, pull him in for the Premier League for next season as well, if all things go well. Okay. He's still developing physically. He's still got a little bit of filling out to do. And his decision-making sometimes can need a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of refinement. And he needs regular minutes in order to develop. And that, at the moment, is what he's not getting at Sunderland. And is probably why he wants to move on. We could possibly be his destination. We'll see. That's exactly why we're looking at him. He's young, he's hungry, and he's got a ceiling that actually could be really, really high, potentially. So, let's also talk about, as I say, Michail Antonio's been out there promoting his book, has got quite a few things to say. Not all of it, I think, has probably been advisable, but he's got to sell his book, I suppose. There are some similarities there as far as I can see. He's not a complete knockoff, but there are some things, there are a few similarities there. Okay. Antonio was a one-off. Built like a tank, ran like a sprinter, plays like a man who's been told the world is ending in 90 minutes. When he was on his game. But there are some similarities between Michail Antonio and this kid. They're both explosive. They both like thrive in chaos. They both love running at defenders, and they can play multiple attacking roles and can cause absolute mayhem when their confidence is sky high. Now, he isn't as physically dominant as Antonio yet. As I say, he is still developing. But he has got that unpredictability, that little X factor where you're not quite sure what he's going to do next. Okay. Make something out of nothing. Boom. And if we're looking for a long-term successor for Antonio's style, someone who can stretch defenses, press aggressively, bring energy, yeah, you can see why he's on the list, can't you? Okay. Why are we looking at him? Fits our profile. He's young, hungry. He has Premier League and Championship experience. He's got a high ceiling, and I think he will be affordable. And we're rebuilding, so trying to bring in players that can grow with the club. If we get him in, this kid, the signing makes a lot of sense. Whether we make it is another matter. Whether this is just talk, I don't know. But I can kind of see why the name's been linked and why it would make an awful lot of sense for this to go through. He's not coming in as a guaranteed starter. He's not the finished product, but he is the kind of signing that could look like a bargain in 2 or 3 years if we play our cards right. So, Eliezer Mayenda, is he the next Antonio? Is he a future star? Or is he just another name in the rumour mill? Let me know your comments in the section below. And as I say, if you're new around here, click subscribe, click the bell notification, drop a like on the video, give us a hype if you've got any available. We'll see you again soon. Come on, you Irons.